morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pit Talk, pulling pits and opinions with your host, Gunny G, where service members help service members, period. Follow, like, subscribe everywhere you get your podcast and on all social media platforms. Let me know how I'm doing. Any criticism is good criticism. Let's get into it. We got a special guest. I'll let him introduce himself. Mr. Friend of the Ginger himself. Go ahead, sir.
My name's Major Clarence Miller.
Oh, that's it?
What else you want to? What else am I supposed to tell him?
Whatever you want.
Hey, I'm the current operations officer up here at Sip and Banger, formerly of 3-1, formerly of 1-4, formerly of 1-1, formerly of 2-5, and formerly of MCRD Paris Island.
Interesting. So you got a lot under your belt, huh?
You know, some more than others, some less than others. You know,
that's good. I'm glad that you're on, sir. I appreciate it. You know, the formalities are done and out the door. I know that you're a major in the Marine Corps. Great. Thank you, sir, for your service, current service, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just going to call you sir because let's just keep it pro. I got you on because you have made an impact on me. I remember we had a meeting the other day, a couple weeks back, for identity and the loss of identity and our current culture. I don't want to be pointing fingers, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But go ahead and tell the listeners where you're from, you know, how long you've been in, and specifics in terms of, I know you went, you know, real quick, but specific where you've been at and what your favorite duty station was.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm originally from small town Pennsylvania, Central PA, Schuylkill County. Moved when I was about 12 down to good old Woodbridge, aka Hoodbridge, Virginia. And then from there, I went off to the University of Washington, commissioned in the Marine Corps 2012. Was on the IRR for about a year. Working as a rowing coach in DC, and then TBS like 2013. Infantry officers course thereafter. Broke my foot at that thing. Took a little while to get out of there. Then 2-5, my first duty station as a platoon commander with Echo Company, the track company. Did 31st MU, came back. Was the XO for Golf Company, the Helo Company. Went on another 31st MU. 2017, went over to Paris Island, was a series commander, company commander, 9 straight cycles. From there, orders to 1-1, in October 2020, orders to 1-4, be the Bravo Company commander on the 15th MU. Then filled HNS company commander billet there, and the 3 Alpha, then transitioned to 3-1 to be the operations officer for Victor 3-1, supported the Marine Vocational Force Darwin. Came back from that and ended up here at Banger to be the operations officer up here.
And there's a lot going on there. I like it. You moved a lot.
Yeah, it happens when you're single and you do the things you're supposed to do, and they're just like, "Hey, we can move that guy wherever."
Yeah. It's cost effective.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it ended up being pretty advantageous for you. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't complain.
You've seen a lot, doing a lot.
Yeah, you know, some more than others, some less than others.
How did you get in the mix with the depot? I know that I've heard some stories of officers. It's not conducive for the career. Did it end up working out for you?
Yeah, for sure. And so if we all remember the Great Siddiqui incident, the commandant basically said, "Hey, we need more combat arms officers down there." So, you know, I like to think that like the Marine Corps' fix to everything is throw the infantry at it. So you found more combat officers, specifically infantry officers, going down to the depots, and I drew the short straw to go from Pendleton over to Paris Island. But it was good. It was you know, I never want to cross that causeway again in my life, but it was good. I was very grateful for the Marines I got to work with there, for sure. A large spectrum, a broad spectrum of different MOSs and things of that nature. So a lot of different experiences, and then, you know, kind of, you know, some minor heartaches for some, specifically when I made them put on chemi paint and things like that. But it was, you know, bringing a little bit of the 03 community to Paris Island, a land of cover and alignment, wasn't a bad thing. But yeah, definitely glad for the opportunity. And funny side note is he's a man, but one of the kids that was one of my recruits when I was a company commander actually is married to my niece.
Is that this? Oh, that's kind of loud. Is that
Yeah, it's just like a small world. I don't know. Because like she told him, she's like, "Oh, my uncle works at Paris Island." And he's like, "Really?" Like, "Yeah, you know, Giant Ginger." He's like, "I think that was my company commander." And I saw him, I was like, "Oh, that was your company commander?" He's like, "Yes, sir." I was like, "Oh, that's cool, man."
Yeah.
How are things going?
Small world. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know you had a mentality going into the depot. How did that mentality change after coming out, if any?
Oh yeah. I mean, I tell you about straight up, I didn't want to go, man. Like what infantry officer wants to go play cover and alignment with uniforms and things? And I think I even made a meme once of like, exasperation. I was like, I used to write SOPs for taking down buildings and now I write them for footlockers. Coming out was good because it was like, hey, like, a lot of the guys down there that were 03 types, we all kind of stuck together and like complained more or less of like, oh, I can't wait to get back to the infantry. Or like, oh, I'm going to get out. And like, I think we all thought about it. But then like after 2 years, like your time on station, you're like, wait, I'm going to go back to the infantry. That's great. It doesn't get any worse. Like it only gets better. So
yeah.
Sweet. Just coming out of there, like I said, you had a great appreciation for the will and drive that NCOs and staff NCOs brought, because you watch these guys destroy themselves on a daily basis to get the extra 1% out of a 18 to average 20-year-old kid who didn't know they had that extra 1% to give, and these guys would bleed everything to get that 1%, because as we talked, like you think about the range, like half inch of movement at the 500 is feet down range, right? So like if they can get the extra 1% of goodness up front, that is exponentially more down range when that guy goes on and becomes PFC Lance Corporal, fucking Sergeant Major, Captain, Marine, whatever. So super cool to watch those guys do that, and really appreciative of the work they did.
I know that I have to say it's okay to get close to the phone piece of the mic.
Okay. I'll get closer to the phone piece.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I love it. You just kind of reinvigorated my fire, so to speak. And in terms of, that 1%, it's good gouge. It's good for young Marines and young service members to listen. Cause again, we're Marines, but this platform reaches all services, all branches, which is great. And I get a lot of feedback there because of it. Family. You don't got no family?
Nope. Not married. No kids. None that I claim. None that I know of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the lady listeners, he is ginger though. That is a in the Hispanic culture, you say that he's tremendo.
Oh, the dudes I used to work with in the restaurant called me Canelo. But, 6'5", green eyes, government, not finance, but hey, we'll count it.
Yeah, for sure. So you don't have family, but you do have family.
Yeah.
You do have friends.
Yep, for sure.
And can you just real quick, how long you been in again?
Since 2012. So 2013 active, like, was that 10 years? 11?
Right?
11.
Who's doing math though? We out loud. We don't do it out loud.
Yeah, I think it's 11.
It's 11.
I got 9 to go.
So that being said, how has your service affected your family and friends in terms of relationships and distance and?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really go home to Pennsylvania too much, right? My mother lived in Virginia until my stepdad's death, and she moved back home, rebuilt a house up in PA, like kind of where we're from. And, my sister's up there, my dad. So I'll go back and I'll visit them every now and then. But, it's kind of hard to get to. It's like middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, but like, there's also like not a whole lot going on. But yeah, I'll go back and visit those cats. But as far as like my friends that I have, like, I think I maintain like, one friend, from like one decent friend from like Pine Grove that, like, he's still there and like, it's cool, whatever. But what you find in the service, like some of your friends, you just like outgrow them like super quickly.
Yeah.
It's great to see them, but it's just like, oh, I know you're going to be there doing the same thing that like the last like 20 years, man. So it's like cool. Like we'll go skate and stuff and hang out. It's a good time, but it's like, it is what it is. The majority of my friends that I maintain social contacts with, like, vehemently are guys I was on the rowing team with in college, and then Marines that I served with and sailors, whether that was as a lieutenant or a captain major. I just went up a mountain with a guy that I rode with in college, 2 of them actually, and then saw a buddy of mine that I was lieutenants with. He lives down in Tacoma. We went out and got a brunch the other day. So
nice. So water is a little thicker than blood in your case.
Yeah, it's by proximity and the shared suffering of things, right? Like I'm tight with my mother, I'm tight with my sister and my dad and all those things, but it's like, like they know where I'm at. They know why I'm out here doing the thing. So
they're not doing the Lord's work.
That's right. They're not pressed on it. They know how to get hold of me, and I know where they'll be. They're not going anywhere. I do make a good effort to try and call them every now and then. I probably should do that more.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I feel like you, for me anyways, you got to, I think it's pretty relatable, or the statement is, once you join and you leave, the convenience of having you around, it kind of rolls over into the communication piece, and it's,
right.
You're not around. We'll see you when you get here.
Yeah, 100%. For sure. They know.
Yeah.
And if they don't know, well, then you know what? Too bad.
They'll figure it out the hard way.
What was it? If you don't know, now you know.
I got to ask though, no hard feelings there then?
For me?
Yeah.
No, I'm Gucci.
Well, that's easy then.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that kind of sucks is like, people experience it throughout the military is like you have these close bonds with these people that you sever and reform like over time permanently, right? Like, you spend 1.5 2 years at a duty station, do a workup, do deployment, and then, you're with these folks like 12 hours a day, plus like your time at ITX, all those things. You're like, man, like you're tight with these people. Like whether they're subordinates, peers, seniors alike, you spend a lot of time with them. And, it becomes incumbent that you just gotta kind of keep like in contact with them and keep like messaging them and stuff. And I think you get really good at like, you should get really good at like forming new friendships and new work relationships with people that are around you, because like they're in the same predicament that you are, the same boat. And that's a good thing. I think where it doesn't really carry over well is like you meet like civilian friends that don't understand that of like, oh, how is it that you go for like 3 months without talking to somebody? It's like, oh, it's super easy. Like, what do you mean? Like you just like don't talk to them and then you just pick right back up where you come off. Like, how do you like maintain relationships and like all this? I was like, dude, you could not text me for a year and like holler at me. And it's like, oh, dude, like nothing, no time has passed. Like all good.
Yeah.
Understand.
You're an adult.
Yeah. Right.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Right. I don't need to talk to you every day.
Yeah.
Mission type orders. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There you go. Civilians don't understand that piece. Yeah. I don't think, but
it's hard to explain too.
Civilian problems.
Yeah. Not my problem.
Yeah. I got to man, look, I'll tell you what, sir, I had to have you on. We had a meeting a couple weeks back to be very broad and, not specific. And you were passionate about what you're talking about in terms of identity and culture. But touch on that piece a little bit. How has your career shaped your identity now and and how do you affect the culture that we have now with that mentality?
Yeah. So I came in the Marine Corps, wanted to be an infantry officer and that's definitely a part of my identity for sure. Right. Like you can't help but not have it, but I definitely try, at least personally wise, to not have like the Marine Corps be like the defining thing about me. Like when I leave, it's going to be like, okay, I was a Marine once, but it's not going to be like, and you'll have those holdovers of like the words you use and the phrases and the terminology that you just picked up across the way. And I won't repeat a lot of them here because you kind of can't say them in real world. But,
so I will say, if you want to throw a little ep on it, you could do, be you.
No, things you could say like in the millennials, early 2010s, you can't say anymore. Like, it's not good. Like, you can't say the R word anymore. Apparently it's bad to go. Or say other things, but, it's definitely been a part of it. And then I think a lot of the identity that I have as a Marine infantry officer and a leader of Marines and follower of Marines and a subordinate Marines, all the things is directly resultant of the Marines that I had the opportunity to stand next to and work for. My squad leaders, like working for them, and my platoon sergeant, my first sergeant as a company commander, and company gunny, my XO, and all those guys, my staff that I worked for and with, as an OPSO, like they definitely help shape that identity, that piece. And then when you have like a team that's kind of like clicking and popping and vibing, and it becomes really easy to become assimilated into a culture. And a lot of that's like driven by the commander too. Like, I gotta like figure out how to like sit up so I can breathe while I talk in this thing.
You could grab them. Just grab the mic.
Just hit it. Want to make it. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, it's way better.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I'll use an example of like when I was in 1-4, right? Like the culture that was expected, or the culture that was like cultivated, was you knew what your last name was, right? Like, as Bravo company, first name's Banshee, and your last name's China, right? Charlie company, Cutthroat, last name China. H&S Havoc, last name China. No matter what, you knew your last name was China. And like, there's a reason I have the damn dragon tattooed on my arm, because I know what my fucking last name is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still got to get my Brahma tattoo, but that stuff goes so far for like knowing who you are. And I got where's my stupid little notebook I got floating around here? I carry my little green government book for the people that can't see here, but on my little green government book, it says ops at the top, but it has every call sign that I've ever had on it, Echo 1 Alpha, Golf 5, Hades 6, Banshee 6, Havoc 6, Brahma 3. And then, like up here, I'm unidentified, like unidentified 3. I don't have a call sign yet, but, Banger 3 sounds good, but, nothing like written in stone. And like, you have to know, like, one, you just got to know who you are inside of an organization. Got to know where you came from, and you got to be able to actually figure out where you're going. Like, if you don't have something that kind of rallies behind and like establishes you as like this thing, you are, Brahma 3. Like, I'll tell you, I knew exactly who I was as Brahma 3, right, wrong, or different. And I definitely knew who the fuck I was when I was Banshee 6, and just by all the stuff that kind of surrounded that and me coming into that company and, being with those Marines and sailors, like, damn sure knew who the fuck I was Banshee 6. Because it was imperative that I knew and understood who they were as Banshee. Yeah, it's a good time.
You're getting passionate. Oh, I see you getting reinvigorated. Like it means something to you.
Yeah, I would do that again in a heartbeat.
I feel like service members have an identity issue or identity problem, so to speak, and they either have an identity before coming in or they don't have one, and all that it is the service uniform that we wear.
Yeah, right.
Or the branch that we serve. Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Ooh, I think it's probably good for some folks that like don't, that there's, and you get to see us at like the depots. That's a good thing. Like you'd see different guys that came in for different reasons. We had dudes that come in that no family, dude was on the street quite literally. And like the Marine Corps was his family. Like the first father figure he had was a senior drill instructor. Like those stories are real, man. Like that's not made up, like fake stuff. That's like real stuff that happens. And for those cats, it's good, right? Cause it gives them the foot in the door to have some semblance of structure, some semblance of understanding of like, what it is to be, not only a service member, but like, a man or woman embodying the core values of instilled by the Marine Corps, whatever, but like, honor, courage, commitment, all that stuff that could have permeated in their civilian life that just didn't. They get a taste of that and they finally like, I have a sense of belonging. On the opposite side, if we can talk about like drill instructors done 3 tours on the depot, like, hey man, if that's, if anybody out there's like a drill instructor done 3 tours of depot, like I'm not knocking you, but like you're probably dodging the fleet, my guy. Go do something else. Yeah. I remember having a conversation at the DI school that I was kind of ostracized for, and it was like, what the question was? The question was, what do you expect from your new drill instructors? The answer was like, I don't expect from you anything. You're a brand new drill instructor. But as an NCO and a staff NCO Marines, I expect from you everything. Right?
Interesting.
Everything. And you put on the power bonnet once upon a time. Like, but I don't expect you as anything as a new hat, man. I expect you for everything as an NCO and a staff NCO to lead, coach, and mentor, these future young Marines, your adjacent peers, and like the officers that are above you that have never had a staff NCO to your caliber or right, wrong, or indifferent. So that'd be like the opposite. Like, hey man, like if all you identify with is being a Marine, you got to find some other hobbies too, dude. Because at some point you're going to take this thing off and you're not going to have that no more.
Interesting. That you would be ostracized in that community for giving that answer. I know very few Marines that had that same mentality. I remember First Sergeant Randall Parks, retired now, had that mentality. We would do those 3-mile conditioning hikes in San Diego. Your PI, so it's a little different, right? Yeah, 3-mile conditioning hike was just in a water source, camel pack.
Oh yeah,
right, for the recruits. And a lot of time it was like singing, making them scream these cover and alignment type of cadence, but
chin the packs,
right? And he came in, set a footprint, said, we don't even do that in the fleet. We don't do that in the infantry.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this here? Stupid. Make them stay close because the slinky effect, right? It affects everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll do a hike.
Right.
And that's what we do. And that's what it was quiet, and it resonated the entire depot.
Yeah.
And then everybody started doing it because it just made sense.
Right.
And so I can agree that would be bad. Hey, the drill instructor is strong, but it's an NCO, staff NCO mentality.
Facts.
That got you here.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure. Like I had a lot of really good staff NCOs that like help, bring me up as a junior officer, even as, as a captain, and definitely as a major. It's all people, right? Like, yeah, you just have the ability to see through the things. And, and to your point, like we don't do those things in the fleet. I think one way I described it to the guys back in the day was, the first, I swear we get it kind of on PC, but like the first thing you do in the morning generally is what? Take a piss, right?
Yeah.
Right. And like, you go take a piss and you realize like, I'm a man or a woman, you know, but like you look and you're like, I'm a man, you know, like, okay. You know, I see that I'm a man. You're a man first. And then what do? You put on your uniform. You're Marine second. And then because I'm a dirtbag and I put my rank on after I put my uniform on, because like I can't do it first. Well, then I'm my rank, right? Like
that's good.
You know, and then like I'm that rank. And then like I'm driving into work and I'm looking at terrain on the side of the road and I'm like, oh, that's a great support by fire position. Like, oh, I could load an ambush there. Then I'm my MOS. I'm an infantry officer, right? Then I'm my MOS. And then I finally get to the depot, across the janky little causeway, come through the gate, and then, you know, 04, we're standing on lights. Well, now I'm a series commander, company commander, right?
That's good.
I'm an 8006, or I'm a drill instructor at 0911, right?
Yeah.
Like not until that point, but in that order, that's who you are. You know, you're a man first.
Wow.
You're Marine second or sailor, whatever. You know, you're rank third, and then like your MOS, and then your subsidiary, your MOS that you're acting as, because it's not your primary, it's your secondary. But
yeah,
you know, I guess it resonated with some folks. We'll see.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep because you find out that somebody that came in at 18 and all they know after 20 plus years, they're still in, right? That's all they know.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
Can't play nothing but football. Yeah.
That's crazy. And I think it affects relationships when all you know is this and all you are is this and institution this. But I heard a saying, you know, I was talking to the chaps a couple weeks back and he said he knew a chief that had a little wood block saying on top of his door that said honor or something. What is it? Honor and then loyalty always or something like that. Right. And not verbatim, but along the lines of that. And it meant, you know, well, who do we honor? Ourselves and people or the institution? Right. And there's a little bit of, you know, a push and pull in terms of the business. Right. But we have to be loyal. Excuse me. We honor us or we honor the institution. Are we loyal to the institution or are we loyal to people?
Yeah.
Right. And how does that affect our relationship?
It's a hard balance, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And especially the flat black community, I would say that it's a little harder than the officer community.
Yeah. You know, and I'll make a quick comment on that because I think I can understand, you know, the flat black, right? Like you're coming in, say you're coming in at 18, you're just not maybe at 18, there's not a lot of experience before that. For the guys that come in later, for sure, they've held jobs, all the things, like maybe a little bit different for those guys, but like officer side, you have the college thing that kind of 4 years to, you know, mature, mold, whatever, live a life, do the thing. And then you're like, okay, I'm an officer, you know, whatever. Now you're indoctrinated into the thing. It's not the only thing, you know.
Yeah, right? That's true.
Yeah. I could see that. I could totally see that. I don't know if there's any correlation with the stuff that I said, but like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. That'd be interesting to take a look at.
Yeah. I think it does affect mentalities. I think it does affect relationships because your presence as an officer is different than a presence as an enlisted NCO or staff NCO.
Yeah, it's weird because when I said the F word, people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you said that."
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah. I think you're definitely more relatable. And I got to add one more. You know, ask one more question.
Yeah, for sure.
That culture identity piece, right? You talk about it's the battalion commander's culture, right? In retrospect, in all duty stations that you've been at, not just specifically to where you're at now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about culture and identity. Who establishes? Do you think? Because the next rank that you're going to hold is lieutenant colonel,
right?
And essentially, if you're in long enough, you're going to take command.
Yeah. And
who sets that? Who sets that culture? Who sets the identity? We do, or you do?
Like the commander, for sure. The commander, for sure. The commander has to set the culture. Like, and not to discredit, you know, the A999s for sure. Like the sergeant major, the first sergeants, they are the backbone of that culture, right? The backbone, the true embodiment of whatever that culture is, as set forth by the commander's guidance, right? You know, they're the guys that issue the orders and do the thing and have the responsibility, for sure. But it is imperative that, you know, that commander works with that senior listed advisor or whatever rank or, you know, thing on the hierarchy as I move my hand around, be in tune and on the same page. Because if they're separate, it's not going to work, right? Yeah. Like if I'm like, hey, I want to build a culture of like daisies and flowers, and you're like, hell no, I want to build a culture of fucking warfighting and boot stomping. It's like, okay, we're at odds. Let's find a happy medium where we boot stomp daisies. You know, like
there you go.
You know, like, but definitely stems from the commander. It's like all things, man. Like commander's guidance is supreme. Commander's guidance, commander's intent. Like it's intuitive what we know, understand as warfighting function people.
It's in every order and directive. Huh. Interesting. not to touch on that too much, it would be a dead horse, but I think you have an idea of what you're going for, and let's say you move here and you get promoted, and then get selected for command, right? Real quick turnaround. How do you see yourself creating a footprint and creating the identity right out the rip?
I mean, like I think one thing that's done me well is like I talk to people the same way. I talk to the recruits the same way I talk to the Marines. I talk to the Marines the same way I talk to recruits. Talk to most people the same way I talk now. Clean up my words every now and then, but not to a significant degree, right? It's like
time and place.
Yeah, right. Like, you suss out the vibe, but like just talk to people, listen to people. And, I think that'd be like the biggest thing I could do. And I learned a lot of that in 1-4 and just listening to what the NCOs had to say. And that's all they want. That's all they want. All people want is to be listened to. I think if you do that, you've already opened the highway for a great culture to either, to permeate through whatever you want that to be. Just because you have the ear of the people, right? Like very communist in nature. But you need the ear of the people. You need the people. People make the stuff. So if you don't have the people, you don't have the thing you go forward with.
Yeah, that's true for our pill. Not to be all weird, but the O1 community has this little 3-pillar thing, and on top of the pillars is people are the center of gravity.
Facts.
Right. So I think that mentality you got to keep. The organization will move with or without you.
Yeah, 100%.
Institution will move. You got to figure out how people need to move within the organization, right?
Sure.
That's good. I can't wait for you to take a man. I'm not gonna lie to you. You could do a by name request as admin chief if I'm still as.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you, fam.
We don't have the same problems as civilians for some reason in terms of identity and culture. We're a team, tight-knit team. And we know that our left and rights. And I think the civilians populace does too, but they like to work in the gray most of the time.
Yeah, right.
Right. And I gotta ask. Everybody has an opinion, and we got to talk. We have to have good discourse or good conversation about current events.
Yeah.
You know what happened this past weekend.
Yep.
How do you feel about that? Just that it got that far. Whether I'm not talking about left or right, where you land on your ideals, but just how far we came.
I mean, dude, someone needs to get fired for the inability to set an inner and outer cordon and set perimeter security, man. Like that's some Lieutenant 101, man.
Oh boy.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
That's wild. I did see some like Instagram videos of like a bunch of drunk folks being like, "Hey, he's on the roof," and just like, wow. They're like, whether that's true or not, like whatever, you don't believe everything you see on the gram, but it's crazy. You think like, former president, like active canvassing president would have like better security. Especially as you look at it here, is like we're like, up here at Bangor, the professionals of security, it's like all we do. It's like, dude, if that would have happened here, like we'd all be fired, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, how the hell did that happen? I don't know. Sounds like the Secret Service needs to, bring a couple more professionals on board or something.
The right questions need to be asked for sure.
Yeah, like
it's almost like what's that show on Netflix? Was it Black Mirror? Have you seen Black Mirror before?
I've heard of it.
Where like they do these
like
futuristic, mini episodes were futuristic. Like this is what we're gonna lead to. Like there's one where you live by likes, right? The more likes you have, the better standing you have in the public or in.
Oh, nice.
Right, and so the less likes you have, or the less people know you, well, you just kind of third class.
Yeah, the caste system based on.
Yeah, right. So I feel like, he got on the roof. He did these things. Everybody saw him and almost took the head off of a former president. Like, it all had to work out a certain way, but those are questions you ask later. I mean, it's just kind of it's kind of funky to believe.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, man, like what? Okay. Yeah.
Right.
It goes back to the old deep state stuff of like 9/11 of like why the pillars had like 90-degree cuts on or like 45-degree cuts on. Like, what cuts those? Jet fuel doesn't burn like that. Like, I was like, what zeitgeist? I think was like the popular thing back in that day. Like, Fahrenheit 9/11. Like all that stuff. I don't know. I don't read in too much to that stuff because if I did, I'd probably go nuts. But it's always interesting to maintain, some semblance understanding.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's why you get like all the guys in like the service who are like, oh, we work for the government, but they're all like super anti-government, but not like not like outright, but it's like the boogaloo, and it's like, oh God, okay, like let the government become tyrannical, we'll put on our plate carrier and our guns and go do stuff. And it's like, but you are the government. It's like, yeah, but But if that happens, we're about it. Like, okay, let's peel that onion back there, guy. But yeah, it's kind of funny, you know.
Yeah.
It's because I won't draw speculations, but I'd say like there's more than not service members are kind of like that. I think it's probably because they see like in quotations, the inside workings of like the inefficiencies of government service and things. So it's like, oh, cool. Like, oh, we left all that stuff over in Somalia and Afghanistan. Like, how come I'm getting charged on my taxes? You know, like
that's fair. That's fair. How does America move forward? It seems like they're a little more, it's starting to get united, so to speak.
Yeah.
With all the, you know, again, you can't take it with a grain of salt, what happens on the gram and X and Twitter and or TikTok and all that trash. But it seems like they're kind of meeting in the middle, so to speak.
Yeah. I think as they should, right? Like the polarity of like the American people is like readily apparent. Like, you go downtown Seattle and take a look around, then you go out to like, what's that county up north in like Marysville and that Skagit County? It's like just totally different lifestyles, right? Like farmland versus the city, and even out here on the peninsula in Pueblo, just totally different, right? But like at the end of the day, like all those people are Americans for the most part, minus like the people that aren't. But like, it's like, ooh, wow, it's just huge disparity, right? And like I think that for them to find, for all the people just to try to find like common ground, it's like, all right, man, like we all generally want the same thing, right? The right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Like that's all we want, right? And some different things, some semblance of others. So it's like give and take, and like folks gotta be okay with giving and taking. And hey, I'll take that, but like I don't like that or whatever. And I won't use like specifics, but like like you gotta have some balance, some semblance of balance. Can't all be black and white, man. Can't all be black and white.
Yeah, for sure.
There's gotta be some gray.
Absolutely. Talk about what's going on. A couple months ago, North Korea said no more peaceful resolution with South Korea. How do you feel about that?
I don't think I was right into that, but like, hey, if that's the case, like there's a lot of people waiting about that life. So
mainly Marines.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, hey, Coach Earl Reed, let's go. We've been there once. We'll go back.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, I guess, personally, I guess if old Kim thinks that's a good idea, then, good for him. But I've seen this. I've seen the South Korean ROKs and Republic of Korean Marines. They're pretty hardy dudes, some hardy dudes. So they ain't gonna be no pushovers either. So also, I still think we're actually tied to support them based on some treaties from a long time ago in like the 50s, right? So we do a lot of exercise with them, do a lot of training in the Korean Peninsula. It's a big thing. And if that's the case, like what they used to say. Fuck around and find out. So.
I seen, funny that you say that. I seen some security. You know how you go to some houses and they say it's secured by Brinks or secured by this, security by this.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple signs that I've seen around on videos. Secured by FOFO. Is it? What is it? FOFO?
FOFO? Force on force?
No.
FOO.
F around. What is it? F
fuck around. Oh, fuck around.
Yeah.
Oh, F.
How do you spell?
FAF. Oh, FAFO.
FAFO. There you go. There you go. I seen a couple secured by FAFO.
Yeah.
I'm like, dope.
Yeah. Facts.
And then there's another one that goes, cameras don't work this close.
That's right.
But this does.
That's right.
It's a gun.
That's right. The only security system you need is like a 9mm or an M4 and a little bit of whiskey. Start blasting Ted Nugent in the background like that. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh man. So that goes into, there's a big four right now, China, North Korea, Russia, Iran.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I think service members need to be rightfully informed about what's going on.
Oh yeah.
If you're not, I think you're being naive and ignorant about potential
absolutely
conflicts.
Yeah. If you're not like at least in tune with like some of the deep state stuff of like, China's ability to like project into the American system and the economic system and like the cyberspace, all that stuff, like you're kidding yourself, man. It's like known, like, I mean, the 100-Year Marathon book's a great book to read, but like, here's like the kicker too. It's like, we've been doing that for years. So they can do it too. I mean, like, look at Nicaragua. Like we stood up the Nicaraguan government in the sense, like the Marines stood that thing up. Banana Wars, like early on, like we stood up that government, Filipino government, like all that stuff, right? Like the meddling of large countries into other countries' state of affairs is nothing new. We're just kind of like whether we want to believe it or not that someone can actually do it to us. Like, yeah, the answer is yes, they can, and they are.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's wild.
It is.
Now, if only they could like lower the gas prices, that'd be kind of cool.
Especially in Washington with the 50% tax on top of the tax.
Heinous.
I know. I don't like that.
No.
Anyways, did you see that they're trying to get rid of natural gas here?
Oh, really?
Yeah, a natural ban gas, however the tax, whatever the proposition is. It's supposed to be on the ballot this end of the year, but they're trying to get rid of all natural gas. One example, propane. Do you know that most houses here heat by propane?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. And to say no more, you're fighting against the majority of people here.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Like, come on, man. Plus, like you take away like natural gas, and I came from a coal town. Like a bunch of coal miners and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, like that stuff's jobs, man. People make their money off that, man. Like, yeah, I'm all about like efficient energies for sure. Like, for sure. Hey, give me nuclear energy in my car. You won't, because then I'll have a car that lasts forever, and you can't make any money on its fuel and consumption. You won't do it. But give me a nuclear powered car. That'd be really cool. I'd be all about that. I would need a degree to like run the damn thing, but
You're right.
I'm thinking of like my 80s DeLorean. I'm putting in a can of beer and some other stuff in the flux capacitor. But like, I don't think that's necessarily the way to go. Like, sure, we can get green energy. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, let's figure out how to harness more of this stuff. But like, taking away all the other forms, like, probably not it, because you're gonna need like a pace. Yeah, it's like all things. You need a pace plan, primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. Like,
there you go.
Like,
there you go.
You can't just get rid of. We're not gonna do this.
Zero.
Yeah, there's no black and white. There's gray, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we can't just, we're not using this anymore. Okay, so, all right.
Facts. There's some more stuff, but enough of Washington politics. I gotta ask though. We talk about what's going on in the world. We talk about family, friends, moving, military, service members, transitioning from one place to another, affecting relationships, blah, the whole spectrum of things.
Yeah.
And then adversity hits at every single duty station.
Yeah.
I gotta bring it back to here, family, friends.
For sure.
Adversity. You talk about deployments, mental adversity there, seeing your brother in arms, so to speak, come back and you don't come back. And that's reality for some.
Yeah.
And for most service members that go, forward deployed. How do you come back from that? How do you find resilience in that? Or where do you find resilience in that?
I think first and foremost, you have to like talk about it. You have to be open to talking about it. And I think, from anecdotes of folks that I've seen and worked with and worked for, and creating an environment where it's like okay to talk about those things, like okay to talk about not being okay, and like I can specifically reference like the track accident that happened, right? The new BC came in, and we talked about it a lot, and it was like different anniversaries of things came up. We talked about it. We talked about reactions. We talked about past events, future events, present events, all the things, and that goes a long way. And then like maintaining those contacts with those people that those significant things and significant emotional events occurred with, and being able to talk with them on it, and knowing like that they are there for you in the same, like vice versa. So I won't say it's not difficult to come back from, but like because everybody has like their own way, they cope with different struggles, but like, if you were to alienate yourself and like, that's probably not going to be the most healthy of things, right? Like to internalize a lot of things. That's hard to say and hard to do as like a service member, especially as a Marine. It's like, I will press on. It's like, hey man, like you can say you feel sad, man. It's okay, dude.
Yeah, but that's not in the leadership traits.
Yeah, right. Being sad is not. No. It says you can be sad. You can't be a bitch. You can be sad and you can be upset. You just can't be a fucking bitch. And then the difference between the two is like, you're gonna be a bitch. You're just gonna be internal and like wallow in yourself pain.
There you go.
On your own, right? Like,
way to elaborate.
Right. Like that's not it, man. Like you can be sad and we can be sad together, and let's talk about being sad together because that's okay. I think every man's cried in their life. If they haven't, they're full of shit. Or they haven't seen Old Yeller or where the red fern grows. But
or The Notebook.
Huh?
The Notebook.
The Notebook. Yeah,
that's a good one. What do you want?
Is that the you had me at hello one? Is it The Notebook?
You had me at hello. Yes, that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah, you had me at hello. Yeah, that's a good movie. I actually watched that
Squirrel
not too long ago. Yeah, but yeah. Sorry, I got the undiagnosed ADHD. But yeah, I think you just have open, candid conversations, and and it's part of the reason why I hug people.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I see how you put that in there. That's good. Go ahead, elaborate on the hug people.
Yeah. So I didn't used to, and I've always generally been a friendly, up chipper person, but like, I didn't like hug people like all the time, but, I guess to say that I kind of tell a backstory. So like I came into Victor 1-4 from 1-1, the company commander and the battalion commander had effectively been relieved for cause after the sinking of the AAV and the loss of the lives of the Marines and sailors on that track off the coast of San Clemente Island. And, like it was COVID time, everyone's wearing masks and it's like, all right, well, like I got the chicken skin already talking about like it's like, cause it's not about me by any means. It's very, very much not about me.
Yeah.
It's like, well, like, what do you do to talk to folks that just experienced a significant emotional event? And like, that happened in July. July. And then, October, I think when I came to the unit, like everyone's in ROM and COVID.
Yeah.
And, masks on things. It's like, what do you say? Like, what do you say? So it's like, take the hat off, take the cover off, lay on the deck. And it's like, all right, like, let me see your faces. And we go through the deployment and we talk about all the things. And, it's like, how do I, as someone who's new to this unit, like quickly and rapidly close on being a personable person, not a Marine, personable person to the people of that's now my unit, my Marines and my sailors, mine. But also the 10-girl Flints too. They were also his for sure. But like, mine at my level, they were mine. His level, they're like everybody was his. We were all his, but, last name China, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, just like, besides like kissing a Marine, which you definitely can't do, but you like hug a Marine, you know what I mean? Like you can't be going like tongue kissing recruits in the mouth, but like gross. The Knicks loving on him again, but like, yeah, but like, how do you close that interpersonal bond like very quickly?
Yeah.
Like give someone a hug, man. And like what's beautiful is like, U.S. Marines is over our hearts, right? So if you hug someone, U.S. Marine, not only do those two things to us, but then your heart's touched too. And it's like some like deep spiritual shit that like I may or may not buy off on, but like someone explained that to me the other day and I was like, that's fucking genius. Like our hearts touch. And it's like, oh dude, it's really cool that like U.S. Marines is pasted over our fucking hearts too. Cause it's like, fuck yeah. It's like your last name, right?
Uh-huh.
Like hugging folks, man. And everything kind of came to a head after we had been doing the training exercises. We're like over basically done with deployment and like, no booze, and we get some liquor in Oman, guys are getting kind of sauced up. And, it's the first time they got to like kind of vent and all those things. And, I had my right-hand man, asked me, he's like, what more could I have done? And it's like, nothing, man. I didn't know what to do. Just give him a hug.
Yeah.
Like nothing, man. Like you're the backbone. Like everything these guys and gals needed, you were there for. And like, that's a lot of weight. Did you carry it? You don't need to carry it. And like, there's nothing more you could have done, my man. Just hugged him and was like, man, like the power of the human embrace is like something magical and beautiful.
Yeah.
And I wish people did it more. Like not to be weird, but it's just like, it just, no one's ever going to stab a guy that gives him a hug. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's crazy. Cause I know, not to get, super emotional and gushy. And it's okay to do that, but people,
we can be sad, but it's okay.
Some people push back for you.
Oh, for sure. That's okay. I mean, that's fine.
It does that show you who they are?
Yeah. I mean, you just, it is what it is, right? Some people aren't about that, right? Like, for me, like, oh, so, folks are like, oh, I don't know you like that. It's like, but I don't need to. By what is tattooed on your soul by the United States Marine Corps, the Eagle of an Anchor, or the whatever the Navy's little symbol is. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's an anchor with some stuff on it. But like, or the United States Navy or Air Force, whatever. But like specifically, I'll talk about Marines. Like, I know who you are. I saw where you came from. Whether it was at Paris Island, MCRT San Diego, or like OCS, I know who you are. It's tattooed on your soul. It's tattooed on my soul. I love you automatically.
My God.
Because it's like what's charged, right? Like,
yeah.
And like, and I think it also kind of comes as like being an officer wise. It's like, I have to love you because I want to love you, but I also have to be prepared to like send the thing that I love the most to its utmost doom. Right. Like, and like, you can't do that if you don't like truly believe that you actually love these people. Right. And like, you have to, or like, you're not going to make good decisions based on like how to take care of them and like look out for their welfare or like truly understand like where they come from. But like, yeah, if someone's like, doesn't want to hug, like, that's fine, man. Like, to each their own. Like, maybe like they got some deep personal shit that makes it that way. Like, I don't know, man. Cool. We'll find a way around it. Like, let's drink some coffee instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's drink some coffee, you know, like we'll talk. We'll bullshit over something else. Like, all good. If the handshake's where we get, that's where we are. That's fine. I'm cool. Ain't hurting my feelings none.
Yeah.
It was just like a little bit, but like,
just a little bit.
I got over it.
Yeah,
it's okay to be sad.
That's good though, man. It's good to break the ice in that way. Like, whoa, I wasn't ready for it. Like, and then it comes in, you know?
Yeah.
The hand comes in. Oh, hey.
The funniest ones were like you just stand there, people let you hug them. They don't hug you back. It's like, no, I'm going to stand here till you hug me back. Like, let's get weird. Hug me back. Oh, sure. I don't hug.
I remember when you first came in, it was like, hey, how are you? And then you did the handshake and then the arms came in and I said, oh, yeah, all right. I'm all about it. You know, come on in for some love. 30 seconds of love is what you call it.
Yeah.
30 seconds of
30
love.
seconds.
It's a little less.
Sometimes less.
It's weird after.
Yeah. You start whispering, speak nothings to each other.
That's good. It's good to break down people that way.
To your pockets.
And then you start to count down.
Scream pig.
Oh, I think that was out of your swim lane.
What, scream pig?
No.
Oh.
Empty your pockets.
Oh, mate. You know what? Parasound's a hell of a place. You know what I mean?
We talk, and I gotta bring it back full circle. You know, time's precious. We both got things to do. But adversity. You mentioned adversity, and you mentioned how to be resilient. Communicate.
Yeah.
Need buddy check.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think to close, you talk about buddy checks, and a lot of the times, service members that transition out a lot of times that's when it happens, because you don't really hear about while they're active duty, or it's very far and few in between that happen, that do make the ultimate decision to do those things and go that route. But a lot of times out of uniform.
Yeah.
Do you think it has to do with the buddy check? Do they lose purpose because their identity was in the service and they have nothing else to do or nothing else to be, that they lose sight of that? Do me a favor, sir, and if you were able to provide some insight, now, you know, they're gone, long gone already. You know, they can't come back. But for those ones that are thinking about it, give them some tools for the tool bag.
Yeah. I mean, I try and stay in contact with a lot of my Marines. Again, it goes back to like, I love them now, or I loved them then. I love them now and I love them always. And like finding the opportunities, like when you guys are going to be in the similar locations and like, hey, let's link up. Or if not, you know, like send a message. I think I just sent a message to my old doc. You know, last week I sent one. I was like, hey, if I had $1 for every time I told the story about you making me go to the RAS for a hernia, I'd have like at least $20, you know, but like just stuff as simple as that. And he, you know, his message back, like, holy shit, sir, how the hell are you? Like, this dude's probably been out of the Navy I think he's out of the Navy, but like for how long? Like, why you still call me sir, man? Like, that's not a thing, you know, and linking up with some dudes that, you know, my old like team leaders and squad leaders in Tahoe, they're firefighters now. It's like, so good to see you guys.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes both ways. Like, you don't know that you need that stuff. Like, you know, even if you're good, right? And like, you know, we're all here and, you know, whatever, and however you kind of relate to the service, it's still like good to see those people because of the commonality that you had and that tattoo on your soul, if you will, right? And just be able to have those conversations again and kind of talk like it was back in the day. And, yeah, like definitely like just keep in touch with folks, and it's like not hard to do.
With current culture right now.
Yeah, you just like go through the Rolodex and, you know, send a meme, you know what I mean? Like, I sent a bunch of memes to a bunch of former Marines, active Marines, sailors, all the things. They send me stupid memes back, and it's like, you know, like it's just a way to stay in contact, right? Like, it doesn't have to be the most like, you don't have to be. I think we get wrapped around like I have to call them and be like, hi, how are you? Like, what are you thinking about right now? It's like, no, man, it's just like, hey, dude, I was thinking about that. I was teaching some class, and I thought about that time that we did that range together. Like, do you remember when, you know, Lance Corporal what's his face like did the thing, and like we like blasted him, but then it was kind of funny, and now like, dude, he's like a sergeant now. You know, it's like, oh wow, cool. You know, the next thing you know, like you're calling that guy and telling him the story that you just had talked about the dude with the other guy with, and it's like it all kind of cascades. I think that's one way, and you know, another way is just, you know, go take a trip back to, you know, where you kind of started and sit there, reflect on stuff. Like, go back to 5th Marines, go up to 1st Sergeant's Hill, go 3-1 or, you know, the 1st Marines crosses, and make time for those things, and make time for like those reunion events and stuff, like all tied to the same stuff, but like make time for it, man. It's important. Like, people go to their high school reunions and like, you don't know them people shit. fuck those people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
like, damn, dude, like you're just gonna have a reunion. Go to that. Maybe you didn't like everybody. It's impossible to like everybody, but like there'll be like 1 or 2 people there you're worthwhile to see. You got more in common with them than you probably do with your people in high school.
Yeah, true.
But I'll get that later.
Where can they reach you at if they want to know more about you and they got some things to ask on the DM type of deal? Where can they reach you at?
Like my
social media handles, if any, or
hell, I don't even know what my social media handle. Let me look. I have no idea. I just like where the heck is it? Where's my phone? Here it is. I have no idea. I think it's like my last name _ something. Dun, dun, dun. I'm prepared for that question.
It's deep though. I gotta say, to touch on your point, the buddy check is a big deal. I see a lot of it with. I got this little cool app that reaches thousands of people at one time.
Oh, I found it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's Miller _C_J. That's my Instagram.
Nice. Last name first, middle initial.
Yeah, younger me had a lot of good foresight.
What before we got to end on a high note, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for the good gouge for all service members that are listening, right? Mental resilience is a big deal, and a lot of it, they lose purpose, they lose sight of it after they transition out, and you don't have to. Just like you said, find what resonates and go back to that place that really made you and started you, and just reminisce on the things that you did. It's a good gouge, and then talk. Yeah. Talk.
Hang out.
Talk. I know it's not a leadership trait. I know it's not in a lot of the service members' motto, so to speak, and but surrender and what's another one? Surrender and being emotionally available.
Yeah.
Those are not leadership traits, sure, but those are definitely what makes you people.
For sure.
Right? And those are, you got to relate in that way, and that's how you help others. But you got to hit the friend of the ginger. What's this thing?
Oh yeah, FOTG _worldwide. Friend of the ginger. Yeah, it's FOTG _worldwide. Let me plug it. There's like stickers associated, and like I did not create them. So it's not like narcissism, but there's a sticker with my face on it that a friend of mine made. We'd surf together every morning, and then he was out surfing, and all the people in the break were like, "Hey, what happened to CJ? Where'd he go?" And he's like, "Oh, he's gone. He's out undeployed." And they're like, he's like, "Dude, you have a lot of friends of the ginger." And so he took this picture that he had taken when we were surfing down Carlsbad and put on this sticker. And now they just like get put all over the damn place. And I sent a bunch of them down to the regiment. And I think even the big colonel put one in like Chicago O'Hare and sent it to the lieutenant colonel. So like I got a photo. Like it's funny. Like they're all over because the Reg XO and I were in 3-1 together. So I sent him like 50 stickers, and I was like, "Sir, here's your stickers." And he's like handing them out at the regiment and shit. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, no, I took one and put it in my wall locker.
Oh yeah.
That's
I got a couple more I think in here. I got to do a better job of carrying them around. Yeah.
There it is. I'll take another one.
Yeah.
Put it in my fridge at the house. But that's dope. Yeah, it's another way. Friend of the ginger _worldwide. FOTG _worldwide.
That's right.
Thank you for coming on. Your mentality, your insight is valuable, whether nobody tells you or not. I found it very impactful when you stood up and yelled at everybody passionately. Not yelled, firmly. Yeah, you blasted those guys.
Yeah, I officer blasted them.
You did. You passionately told them what you're about and what it should be about. And it had to be I think it had to be an officer. It couldn't be enlisted that said that. It had to be an officer, and I'm glad that it was you, because that's how you spark a fire.
Yeah. Side note, they didn't even get the full force. It's like half.
That was half.
That's half.
Wow.
Yeah. So I learned something from you guys on the depot. I can blow it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope. But thank you, friend of the ginger _worldwide and Miller _C_J.
Yeah.
If they want to know more, DM them, hit them up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pit Talk, pulling pits and opinions with your host, Gunny G, where service members help service members, period. Follow, like, subscribe everywhere you get your podcast and on all social media platforms, except TikTok. That was too much for me. Let us know how we're doing. Any criticism is good criticism. Ladies and gentlemen, we out. Sir?
No, I'm all good. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Talk is a podcast featuring active service members who discuss their thoughts and opinions on various issues surrounding military life, current events, and history. The statements heard here are the opinions of its members and guests. These do not necessarily reflect the views of the Department of Defense and are not endorsed or sponsored in any way. Listener, viewer discretion advised.